Hello world, how are you? Today I'm going to tell you 3 stories from my past, from the times when I used to work in family businesses in Eastern Europe and Turkey. I hope you will enjoy them. But don't forget, they are true stories. But before that, let's make coffee. The coffee is done. So I have this trick I learned from somebody. So you have some milk. This is cream, but you can use regular milk. So you shake it really hard. You shake it. You pour it into the cup, and then the coffee. You can see that it's a cheap coffee maker from Turkey because it spills coffee everywhere. Okay, you don't even need the special devices. You can get like a coffee shop quality of foam on top. Okay, so the first story goes like this. I was 25 years old and I had my first job in a company which was doing maintenance for the refinery, one of the biggest refineries in Eastern Europe. Okay, so I'm there, and since I was in charge with the export papers, I always had to take company's car and drive here and there. One day I had to go to the customs office. I had a full stack of papers, always in a hurry. I finished my formalities there. And then I got out and suddenly I see 10 dogs following me. You know, I am used to street dogs and so on, so I didn't fear them. They were exceptionally aggressive. Somehow I started to get scared. So I head to my car, but I couldn't reach the car in time because one dog bit me. Holy moly! And now I am in the car, I have to return to the factory. I lifted my jeans and I saw, two red marks. Occupational safety, there was not such thing. I said, oh my God, I'm on my own. I have to go to the hospital. So I called the company. I said, you know what? I had an encounter with dogs, with street dogs, so I have to go to the hospital. Once I arrived at the hospital, at the emergency, I said, look, a dog bit me and, you have to give me the rabies serum against rabies. And they said, unfortunately, we are out of serum. But you know what? They said, you go back to where you saw those dogs and identify that dog and keep track of that dog for about 2 weeks. In that time, I couldn't even remember what dog bit me. There were like 20 dogs. It could have been a black dog or a white dog. There's nothing you can do. If they say they don't have the serum, I went away. And I don't know, I think when you are young, you don't think so much about consequences on your health. You do all sorts of reckless stuff. So you don't have this danger awareness. And I said to myself, oh, come on, what's the probability that the dog was rabid? God loves me, he wouldn't just put a rabid dog there waiting for me, So I went back to the factory and everybody was, oh, poor you, look what you went through. This is the nature of the job, when you go with the car all the time out of the office and damn with this town administration, city administration, they don't care. The politics is to blame. Our president, and I'm sitting, and I'm sitting there, and I show the wand to everybody. But if that would happen now, I would think differently. Maybe I would even force my employer, I don't know, to give me a car and drive me to the capital and take a shot there. Because recently I saw in the news that a woman in UK, she got scratched or a small bite from a street dog in Morocco, and she got rabies and she died. Yeah, so this one, the second story, happened in Turkey. So I was living in a small town, and in a small town you don't have many possibilities to find a job, but there were several companies that were suitable for me, and I said, okay, forget it about a big wage. I don't need a big wage. I just need a work-life balance. If I can be in my own home and go to the beach in the evenings, and I don't know, work 6 hours a day as a secretary, even though I was a university graduate, it really didn't matter for me. So I researched a little bit. I found an American company, and I went to them and I said, you know what, I have this and this skills. Do you need somebody in your company? And they look at me weird because they saw this woman coming from across the green field in the middle of nowhere at their door. They said, yeah, we might need somebody. So they found a place for me, and it was in the middle of a container room, I think, with a lot of files. I started to work very hard to prove myself that I'm a trustable person, cleaning the shoes of the owner of the company, their slippers they were using to go outside, listening to their stories about their passion for ranches and horses and whatever. We moved into a bigger building, which was new, luxurious. It was looking good, like I think those office buildings you see in San Jose, or where in what is this place called where they do technology in US? I don't know, something with Valley, something like that. And it was looking pretty with you could see that it was the hand of an American there. I am there as a secretary, and I constantly try to prove myself. So when they gave me the task of researching some regulations for their procedure of selling their products in EU, I did an extremely good job. I started to research and found all sorts of, because I don't know, it's in my nature. I gather all sorts of resources, laws, regulations, economical issues, calculations. It was such a thick file. Owner of this company was an American. Her name, let's call her Mandy. And this Mandy hired a cook in the company. One thing I noticed, you notice the red flags in the beginning. She ordered this new cook to lock all the meat in a fridge with a lock with a key, so that non-employees can steal a piece of meat from the deep freeze. And she was confiding on me, the company manager was confiding in me and said, nowadays you cannot trust anybody, our people, and I said, I don't think anybody will go so low as to steal like half a kilo of meat. And she said to me, but you know what, the people, when you show them, when they are around something of value, there is something in them that it pushes them to steal. And I said, as you wish. Here is a Muslim country, I don't think this would happen. But anyway, so a few months afterwards, while I was in charge of a project, she came in the morning, all anxious, coming to my desk and said, from now on, you have no access. I will take all your passwords. Everything you had access to, I'm going to lock it, and you will not be allowed to enter any room without the permission of the cleaner. Whenever you go into a room and you need a file, you have to have somebody with you. And I was shocked. What the hell is going on? You know, I was expecting a big prize, like a raise or an office for gathering so much information. In order to gather all this data, one usually needs to hire a consultant, a business consultancy in regulatory issues. Well, I did all the work against pennies. And I was expecting some, I don't know, not necessarily a reward, but appreciation. And this is what I got. They locked me out of everything. But you may wonder, what made Mandy change her behavior overnight? It turns out I did such a good job in researching that file, and that made her suspicious. She saw me as a potential thief. She assumed that one day I will be able to steal the secrets of the company, the fabrication recipes, and I will create my own company. This is how my days of freedom in the company finished. At that time, I was more sensitive and I was kind of dumb. I remember going outside and weeping, petting their dog, because I didn't know what else to do. It was just, was the universe hating me, The more I tried to prove myself, the worse it got. And the woman, Mandy, called me back to the office, sat me down across from her, and said, I see you are upset, but you seem so overly emotional. And I started to babble there. I didn't know what to say. Long story short, after that I quit. Normally when you quit a company in Turkey, they have to give you a paper in which it says, oh, okay, this person worked for us, we don't have any trouble, signature, bye-bye. And with this paper, you go to your next employer. She refused to give me that paper. Voila! So that was the second story. The third story, I have so many. So I am now in a company which had a lot of contact with Italian companies. So they arranged for me to travel with my manager in Italy, in Napoli, and from there to Salerno. In the day of the flight, I got up early. I had to drive 3 hours to Istanbul airport. Somebody had to drive me 3 hours. So I woke up like 1 a.m. or something, 2 a.m. I arrived at the airport. My manager is not coming. And usually when you travel abroad, you have to have a certain allowance of money. The other manager in the company didn't give me any. Motivating, you know what, all the cash I'm going to give you to your colleague, your manager, and both of you are going to share the expenses there and you will find a solution, blah, blah, blah. And I'm at the airport. And my manager is not coming. And waiting and waiting and waiting. We are close to boarding. We are at the boarding gate. The doors are opening and we start to... So I let myself last. In that moment, somebody from the company calls me, the sister of my manager. They were owning the business. And she tells me, hello, you know what? Your colleague, the manager, my brother, is actually detained by the airport authorities because of he had an unpaid unpaid bill or something to the state, or I don't remember exactly. But you go on, go with the plane, and once in Italy, he will come with the next plane, and both of you are going to figure it out. And then I froze because I had only like 40 euros in my pocket. And I'm going to fly into another country and I had no money with me. I knew them. They are all the time not reliable. So when she told me that he's going to come with another airplane, I didn't fully trust it. So I almost had a meltdown. at the gate. The woman manager tells me, you know what? Before the door closes, before the gate closes, go fast to the airport police office, which is in the second floor at the right side, and so on, and run there. And I don't know, wait there and take your manager. And I don't know what she was babbling on the phone. I mean, I had like 20 people in front of me, and the gates were closing, and she was telling to go to the airport police. The stuff I did for money. Oh my God. And guess what? I go with the airplane. I arrive in Napoli. With the money I had in my pocket, I bought myself a ticket to go to the hotel which they booked for us, which was a small boutique hotel somewhere in the old center of Napoli. I arrived there with my luggage, and the receptionist tells me, yes, you can go inside you are early, so about 2 hours later. But before that, can you please present the credit card you booked the apartments with? I had no credit card, company credit card. I didn't have it. They didn't give it to me. And I said, but I thought it was paid. And she said, no, it was not paid. You have to present the card. Otherwise, we cannot let you into the room. And I'm standing there with like 30 euro in my pocket in Napoli. And I cannot get into my room. And I know the night will come. And my boss is not there. After 5 hours of waiting or 6 hours of waiting, they arranged a payment from Turkey to pay the hotel. So this is how I got inside. My manager appeared the next day. And after he came from the airplane, he went straight to drink. The day after that, we had to visit the customer. So I went in front of his hotel to wait. All right, he was booked in a different hotel, right? And so I went in front of his hotel in the morning, waiting for him to come down so we can take a taxi and go to Salerno. So he was not coming down. The guy was not coming down. So after like 40 minutes of waiting, I was dressed in suit and everything. I go to his door and knock. And I think it was in Airbnb. I knock. And he puts his head out of the door. And then suddenly a smell of alcohol came out. And he said, you know what, I have a strong headache. Can you please go and buy me some toothpaste? So this is what I was doing. It was 9 a.m. or something. I remember the sun was up, people running around with the, serving trays with little coffees on them, and everybody was hurrying to work. And I was running around in Napoli looking for a small shop where I can buy toothpaste for my boss. Let me know if you want to hear some more. I might remember, because I had many stories like this happening to me. I would like to hear funny stories from your side, from your working life. And if I would have an advice for somebody who is just starting and looking for work, if you hear family business or we are like a family, run, never look back. I think they took advantage of me because I never really had a nice childhood and a nice family life. So I was kind of looking for a surrogate, even if I was a young adult. When they were telling me this, we are like a family, my eyes was like, bling, bling. Here is my family. Here, I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to give you money for your work. You take advantage of your weakness, and you end up losing. These were the stories from my side. I would be happy to hear some of funny stories from your side. Bye bye. Coffee. Amore mio.